Okay, does the Bible ever talk about secularism?
No, because all right. So our Old Testament is the Jewish scriptures, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for Jews, everything was intertwined, right? Because they had a theocracy, if you were, right? God was their king, and even when they began to have monarchy with King Saul and King David and King Solomon and so forth, they still understood God to be the God of gods, the King of kings, the Lord of lords. All right. So and that was intertwined in everything they did in their culture, right? Like the laws, for example, that Moses received from the Lord on Sinai was not just laws of the 10 Commandments of how to morally live. It was also, here's the laws, for your civil nation, for your nation.
Right.
And so like everything was so intertwined.
And then he broke them and had to go get them again.
Well, are you talking about the tablets?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He had to break the tablets and it's a whole mess. But yeah, thanks golden calf and those people, who made a golden calf, but whatever. All right.
I mean, them making the golden calf did not force Moses to break this stuff.
No, he
did that completely on his own.
Correct. Yeah. How you react to things, right, is on you.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So my point is there would have been no concept, no idea of separating out life from church, the way we would phrase those. Using modern day words
within
their cultural context,
right?
Because their cultural context was also their religious context.
Right.
It's also their ethnic context. It's also the way they approach business and the way they approach dealings with other people, and right, all of it, agriculture even, right? It was all so intertwined, and they
were so good at that stuff because they're Jews.
Yeah, you love the Jews.
I do.
I know, and so,
but I was going to say, not a but about that thing,
okay.
But wouldn't every other culture that wasn't Jewish be the secular whatever then? Be secular cultures?
Yeah, some were and some weren't.
Okay.
And I think that's something for us I think maybe that's kind of hard for us almost to even fathom, because almost every nation, even if it wasn't a direct theocracy, there was so much involvement in regards to the gods of those nations, right?
Okay.
Like so many nations in the ancient Near East had gods that they were appealing to.
Okay.
Now you do have the exceptions, but you do have like Pharaoh would talk about I'm God, right? Like, but even that they're trying to bring the sense of God. But most nations in the ancient Near East, again, had an attachment to God or gods, plural, right? And I mean, you see that even through the beginning parts and even into the Greco-Roman Empire, right? Like there's still that sense of, polytheism that's occurring. And so, but I do think along that same time frame, you begin to see a little bit of a movement of creating that separation between the civil life and the religion life, put it that way.
Okay.
To use those terms. The civil and the religion lives, I think, began to become a little more separated. And then what you really see is during like their age of reason, the age of enlightenment, that's when it just took a hard separation point.
Way after Jesus.
Oh yeah. I mean, absolutely. Right. I mean, the word secularism is really first found like in the was it the 1800s, and so in other words, it's a long, it takes a while for that word to even be coined or used.
Okay, so it's not in the Bible, that word.
No, not in the Bible. So back to your question,
King James put it in there.
Yeah, no. So sorry. Back to your question, in the Bible. No, there's not, because everything is found. Like again, you got the history of the Old Testament. The history of the Jews in the Old Testament, and then you have this, kind of short history of, from the Gospels to Revelation. So a short history of the first century, if you were, and it's still the same thing though. Like it's the recording document of of Jesus and then the early church, and they're still viewing life in the same way of it's all interconnected.